Amateur Radio News and Notes for Friday, May 30th, 2025. I'm Ed Kavik, November 2, Echo Charlie. In the log this week, we'll be talking about the MVARC breakfast and meeting happening tomorrow. Also, amateur radio testing opportunities this weekend in Northern Virginia. We'll talk about MVARC Nets on the air, see what's happening with DX, get a solar activity update, talk about some upcoming contests, and as always, look into some interesting online radio content. Tomorrow, Saturday, May 30th, 2025, is the date of our next monthly breakfast. As usual, we meet up at 8 a.m. in the IHOP at 7694 Richmond Highway in Alexandria, Virginia, for great conversation, camaraderie, and breakfast too. We have been having a great turnout the last few months, and there's always room for you to join us. We hope to see you there. Shortly thereafter, we'll be meeting at MVARC President Corey at KN4YZYZ to make some preparations for this year's field day. This will be an in-person get-together with us testing equipment, getting on the air, having some fun. So there will not be a hybrid meeting this month. Two local clubs here in Northern Virginia will be offering classes and testing opportunities this weekend. The Woodbridge Wireless Amateur Radio Club will be having a class covering the technician class examination, followed by the test today, May 30th, and tomorrow, May 31st in Woodbridge. And the Arlington Amateur Radio Club will offer licensing testing on Sunday, June 1st in Falls Church. Details on the Woodbridge Wireless event and the Arlington ARC event can be found in the show notes. And now let's talk about some of the MVARC Nets on the air. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m., we have our 2-meter FM net on our repeater, which is immediately followed by our digital net in Yaesu System Fusion C4 FM. And then on the weekends, we have our MVARC Slow Speed CW Roundtable on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7:30 a.m. at 3.565 megahertz for CW. We usually go between 12 and 15 words a minute, but we'll slow down to whatever you're comfortable. And later on Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 a.m., we have the MVARC Cherry Tree Net on 3.920 megahertz lower sideband, where we always have a good discussion, and you're always welcome to join us. And now let's talk about what's happening with DX. There'll be a good amount of DX on the bands this week. Stations on the air will include Niue Island, Kuwait, Falkland Islands, St. Martin Island, Marcus Island, Minami-Turishima Islands, and Antarctica. A calendar of DX expeditions can be found at dxnews.com/calendar. And now it's time for a solar activity update. As we go to press, the solar flux index was 145, and the estimated sunspot number was 126, with 8 numbered sunspot regions visible from Earth. Over the last week, the SFI has increased. Geomagnetic conditions were at major storm levels yesterday, reaching a KP index of 7 early in the day, resulting from the high-speed stream with negative polarity from coronal holes 116 and 112. Later in the day, the conditions reduced to minor storm conditions, where they are expected to continue today. Solar wind is expected to be enhanced due to the high-speed stream. G1 to G2 level, minor to moderate geomagnetic storms are likely today, with G1 storms and unsettled to active conditions expected this weekend. The chance of solar radiation storms at the S1 or greater level is low at 10%. R1 to R2 radio blackouts are likely, with a predicted probability of 50%. R3 or greater blackouts are unlikely, with a 10% chance predicted. There's a chance of 6-meter propagation, so keep an eye on the band and spotting clusters to be ready for the next time the magic band does its thing. HF conditions have been favorable overall, and it remains a fantastic time for amateurs of all license classes to get on the air and work the world. Good sources of real-time solar information include spaceweatherlive.com and solarham.com. A good overview of conditions can be found at dx.qsl.net/propagation. To see delayer absorption data and associated radio blackouts, visit the NOAA DRAP predictions page. And to see real-time maximum usable frequency, or MUF, and critical frequency, FOF2, information from RadioSonde data, visit prop.kc2g.com. And now let's take a look at some upcoming contests on the contest calendar this weekend. We can look forward to the PODXS 070 Club 3-day weekend contest, the Feldhell Sprint, the Russian WW Multi-Mode contest, and the PVRC Reunion. As always, the K1USN, SSTs, MSTs, and CWTs will also be on the air. The full contest calendar with events and exchanges can be found at contestcalendar.com. And finally, let's take a look at some interesting online radio content. Jason, KM4ACK, took a look at the Buddy Pole Power Pro back at Hamvention. Sebastian, KI2D, showed us some of the updates to the Ham 2K portable logger. Mike, K8MRD, does a QRP POTA activation from Galveston Island using his new FTX1F. Jim, WT1W, takes a look at the Hilltech Mesh Pocket Meshtastic node. TJ, K9KJ, looks at the Ham Radio Duo Straight Key 1. Evan, K2EJT, talks about the backlash surrounding the Yaesu FTX1 and radio YouTubers. George, VK2AOE, builds some BNC patch cables and also builds an AliExpress antenna switch as a rig selector that he used them with. Dougbo, KD7DUG, builds the Hypermite CW audio filter to great results. This was a fun one. Mike, M0MSN, finds the source of local QRN and QRM and nulls it out. Matt, M0DQW, takes a look at Red Pataya firmware for the Web 888 SDR. Steve, KM9G, uses ammo cans for radio storage. Kevin, KB9RLW, uses tungsten-infused filament for 3D printed radiation shielding. Kevin, 2E0, Whiskey Mike Golf, and Richard, G0NAD, get let down by a kite antenna. Vince, VE6LK, shows us his Hamvention haul. Kevin, 2E0, Whiskey Mike Golf, talks about 18650 batteries for portable power. Dr. Tamitha Scove, WX6, SWW, gets us up to speed with solar weather. Forrest, KI7QCF, shows us CW on the Yaesu FTX1. Evan, K2EJT, compares the ICOM IC705 and the Yaesu FTX1. Mike, K8MRD, activates POTO for the first time with his new Yaesu FTX1. Walt, K4OGO, tries out the Alpha Antennas SS34 Plus 34-foot telescopic antenna. It's a big one. And Mike, K8MRD, unboxes the Yaesu FTX1. Well, that's it for this week. I'm Ed, November 2 Echo Charlie. Thanks, as always, for coming along for the ride with us. We hope you have a great week ahead. Best 73, and we'll see you next week.